Amazing.
I don't like to look up at my nostrils here.
Hey, you live now.
Good evening, viewers. Thank you for joining us for another show on the Footy Express. Just want to thank you again for joining us and watching the show. I'm really having a great time interviewing all the guests. And speaking about the guests that we have on tonight, we have on two legends of the game. Daniel AkA Dot Borman. He was really a myth. Growing up, I think 13 or 14, we used to hear that name. We actually nicknamed a friend of ours Dot, and to only realize about 15 years later, I get to meet him, and me and his son is driving together. And speaking about his son, I want to introduce Danleigh Borman, that many of you know. Also a legend in his own right. I was thinking this afternoon, but also trying to figure out, do I say this? But I'm going to say it. And I mean, this is a testament to his dad. He's really surpassed his dad. I don't know if his dad's going to agree, but he really surpassed his dad football-wise because he's played with David Beckham and Thierry Henry and Uncle Dot. I don't know if you maybe you want to mention a few names you've played with.
Me?
Yes.
No, he's the guy that you want to play with.
He's the Brian.
Yeah, he's the David Beckham and the Thierry Henry.
So why was, and I'm being serious, I think there was a real myth around your career, Uncle Dot. Why do you think that was? I know you played as a striker, but why do you think that was? What was so special about what you did?
Must I talk about myself?
Mm.
When you asked the question, what was special about myself?
Yes, what was special about you? Why did you have such legendary status?
Possibly people, I spoke to another guy the other day. He said, I know this man, Dot Borman, I know you. And he said, it's about the speed that I had, the speed. And also besides the speed, it was, I could dribble well, man. And to score goals was easy for me. Yeah, because when I was younger, when I was about 6, 7 years old, I 6, 7, 8, 9, I used to play in the parking area opposite the house, and it was a small, it's like a tarred with two. Then we make out two poles on each side. I just took a goalkeeper, and my goalkeeper was crippled. He's family of mine. Danny knows him, Mark Diaz, and he will stand in the poles, and then as he stood in the poles, I just looked for another defender, and then we were 3 players. Then I played against about 6, 7, 8 guys, and that is when I scored a hell of a lot of goals against that 8 guys. I was a defender, midfielder, forward, and so on, and that helped me with my skill. And I think I was blessed with the man above, man.
And it sounds like you used to do it consistently.
Every day. Every day, even a Sunday.
That's why I love this show. I think I learn something new every day. I was reading this book, and this famous cricketer, I think they said the best cricketer of the decade, as a kid, he used to throw a golf ball against, this Vibrate walls, but it has this wobs, this, like this protruding. Throw the golf ball against me every day, and then he'll use a wicket, and he'll try and you saying, Uncle Dot, it was easy, but I would like to think, and I believe God does bless you with that talent. But when you said goal scoring was easy for you, could it be that we can track it back to when you were playing, when you were training every single day with that one keeper in the yard or in the road?
And those were wonderful days. Out of school, onto the field. Out of school, onto the field until 8 o'clock the evening.
Sure.
Then the scores possibly about 20 now.
Was it? I remember those 20-0 games. Yes, absolutely. Was it similar for you growing up? Playing?
I wouldn't say it was similar. I think the time was different. Born in the 80s, I think our generation started to play more of the video games and those type of things, you know. So like my dad, they only had the soccer ball, and they played till late. I also played till late, but maybe on the weekends, you know, on a Friday, Saturday, and a Sunday, not the entire week because you had to go to school and all of those things. So I also like to play every day. I could play at school and went early to school to play those types of things. But I think that the times are different, man. You know, people, like especially society, it was more dangerous during my time. You know, which is the station strangler that was down the road. You know, so you had to think of those types of things. Where I think during my dad's time and they were a bit more free. You know, and
Yes.
you know what I mean.
Quite. So I want to talk about this freedom, but I want to ask Danleigh first before I ask Uncle Dot. You always, when you speak into an older generation, they say that that generation played with more freedom. There was more passion. There was more love for the game, and that's why football was maybe better. Would you say that we've experienced, as the game changed for us, did we experience less freedom in the game?
As a pro, you're talking about now, right?
Yeah.
Yes, I think it's you know, you play football because you love it, right? That is something that you grow up loving. You just want to be a pro. That's a professional football player. But then when you come to the pro leagues, it's the business side takes over. You just become a pawn, you know. Even though you wake up every day going to practice, it kind of the love becomes business, you know. At the later stage in my career, it became at the later stage. Like in the beginning, my first 2 years, you know, 3 years, 4 years, that was still passion, love. You know, I still had the passion, but then it was okay, business. Now I need to look out for me. You know, who's gonna give me the right money and all of those things. You know, which in my experience, didn't really like about the game.
I mean, I've been telling people this recently, and I agree with you. My first 2 years, loved it, and then there was a stint for like 5 years that I didn't like the game because there was just so much pressure. So you think about what club, but within your team also, it's like there's so much unhealthy competition because it's more of a business. Uncle Dot, how was it in your time? Because you were also a pro. You were also a pro player, but how was that? Was that love still there? The enjoyment for the game all the time?
Man, if I didn't even ask for money.
Sure.
When we played, I never even checked my salary. I gave it to my mother. The first salary when I turned pro, it was 50 rand.
Wow.
But those days, 50 rand was a lot, I suppose. But I just gave it to my mother. And I must say, the commitment was there, the love was there. That's why it was 7 days a week that I even failed in the standard 2. You understand?
Sure.
Yeah. And school books, I can remember one day when we went to Durban with a plane. That was with Cape Town Spurs. And then and we were writing geography the Monday. And we're playing Sunday a game in Durban.
Wow.
And guess what? On the way there, the way back, I opened the book and then I closed the book again. I never even read or studied. I just went to go and write. So that was the hunger for the game, you see.
Of course. I'm gonna
Yes, I knew. I said, go with the schoolwork, man.
yeah, but what the geography is the
Yeah.
um, I want us to get into that at the later stage, but here's a question. What do you think our football generation is lacking now? Anyone can answer.
Can I answer?
Please.
Yeah.
I honestly believe, especially here in Cape Town and in the broader country, South Africa, I think we have talent that is second to none at a young age, right? But we lack that of what my dad's generation had, that of being outside, playing every day. For us, it's going to practice unless you get chosen by academy. That is only a group of boys, like say 20, 25 boys that are chosen that gets to play every day. But during their time, it was all of them that were playing every day. You know what I mean? So,
Mm,
and that's where you develop your skills. You get that feel for the ball, the touch, the love for the game, the scoring, the defending, that one-on-ones. So I think that is what this generation is lacking. I'm not sure if this person is talking about the pro guys, but I'm talking about like the youngsters today.
grassroots.
Yeah, but
Grassroots. I
I
think
must agree with Dandy.
just playing
I must
every day.
agree with Dandy because they were limited, man, with time outside. Ne?
Mm,
And with us again, it was freedom. You see, I was very when I was born. My mother was old and my father was old, and I'm the last of 12 children.
mm,
So I had the freedom. I could. They never even checked my schoolwork. You
mm,
understand what I'm saying? So we
mm,
just done our business outside. As long as they could
mm,
see us, okay, we're safe. And but we
mm,
played every day outside.
Like John, we traveled to Argentina one year when
mm,
I was at Red Bulls, and what was what was cool about that place, Argentina, is we have recreational parks everywhere, right?
yeah,
Now they have mini football fields everywhere
sure,
in Argentina.
sure.
It's sometimes there's no grass on there, but you can still play on it. So on every corner or couple of blocks, there were poles and kids were playing, adults were playing, everybody was just playing every day. They didn't stop playing. And
Mm,
for me, I
mm.
personally believe that is one of the things that will help you grow as a footballer in your career. To play every day.
So in Brazil, they have, I think, up until under 12 or 14, where there's no results. There's no league, there's
Yes,
no results. So people are
yes.
just kids are just playing. And Zach agrees that we don't play street football anymore, and unfortunately, it's difficult because you're worried about your kid. What's
Yeah.
going to happen to your kid outside? And I think people underestimate what that does because
Mm.
you probably get into 1,000 different positions playing street
And
football,
situations, yeah.
and it becomes part of you. So it
Yes.
automatically becomes part of you. It automatically becomes part of who you are. And I do think, what do you think about? So how do you keep that freedom going into a pro? Because we know Uncle Dot in your era, okay, the money was out of it, so the business side was out of it, so that love was just continued. You just went. It was like you were playing in the street. Now you're just playing in Durban. But that business and that unhealthy competition, I believe, wasn't there. But how do you maintain? How do you keep that freedom still going into the pro setup?
Well, when I started playing pro, I was still at school at Belgrave High. When I started playing for Captain Spurs, um, I still didn't study a lot, but I was more on the field outside in the road, and
Okay.
also at the school. At the school,
Mm,
I played a
mm,
lot of soccer during the intervals. The grade sixes that time against the grade 12s. We
mm.
we yeah we played against them, but we gave them a lekker hiding the grade 12s. So And then Harry Kemper was also at that school. You know Harry Kemper? He was also at Belgravia High. So, but we had the freedom. My mother, like I told you, man, they were too old for me. But
No,
I,
but he's talking about the freedom of playing when you are
yeah,
professional. That taking that
but
freedom into the
yeah,
pro league.
when I started playing and it was working for me, they were okay. You understand?
Mm.
But when I joined, when under Frank Lord, he took all that freedom away from me. He
Okay.
restricted me. He restricted me to one and two touches or three touches for
Mm.
the most.
Mm.
So that also my game dropped.
Mm.
You understand? And then I said I can't be with this team. I need to
Mm.
go back to where I belong. You
Mm.
understand? Where I can have the freedom. They
Mm.
left me up front alone, um, and then they just allowed me to do what I want to do on the field.
And you, Danley, played with against David Beckham, played against Thierry. I played with Thierry Henry, Pablo
Mm.
Angal. How do you think? Because this question has come up for me with some of the guys I'm mentoring. How do you maintain? How do you keep that freedom and that love, which I believe is very important?
Um, how do you maintain that love and that
Mm.
freedom? It's tough, eh? Especially the way how football has become so technical. You know,
Mm.
with defensively and the shape and how players are supposed to run and pass and where they're supposed to pass. It's really tough to have that freedom in certain areas of the field.
Mm.
And for me, growing up, football was about expressing myself in
Why?
different situations. You know, like
Why?
dribbling, like similar to my dad, left-footed. But I'm left-footed. It was just about playing, not thinking about, oh, I must pass to him so that he can pass to the right back and the right back pass to the right half, and that's how we move forward. It wasn't about that growing up. But as I got older and older, tactics took over. Also, Frank Lord coached me at Rijkersdal, and it was
Wow.
about one touch, two touch, um, one touch, two touch, three touches. One of the things that I've always kept with me from what he told me, Frank Lord, was um, if you don't have the ball, nobody can scream at you. So get the ball, give it to somebody else. Get the ball, give
Wow.
it to somebody. Which is such a negative way of
Wow.
playing. You know, if
Wow.
you look at somebody like Messi, he wants the ball. You know, he wants
Yo.
the best players always want the ball at the feet. Which is I guess a cultural thing also because of how they do things in England and um but that freedom and that joy of just expressing yourself kind of died down as I got older.
Mm.
There were moments when you have that
But
moment, but
but I must
but
agree. But I must agree with Danny. You see, when you do something special on the field, the crowd will be there for you. You know,
mm,
and now it's boarding soccer, like going this way, that way, one touch, two touch. So I looked at Kaiser Chiefs and I said I hope and I wish if I could see a Kaiser Chiefs team playing like the Chiefs as when we played. I played against Chiefs and I scored against Chiefs. So I thought of why can't Chiefs be like they used to be? You know,
Mm.
when they came out,
Mm.
the crowd went mad for them. They were running
Mm.
up and down on the field, and
Mm.
when they touch the ball, you can't get the ball away from them. You understand
Mm.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They had teenage Latla them and all of that,
Yeah.
and guys with tricks and make moves and it was wonderful and it's attraction for the crowd. You see, that's
Of
why
course.
there's no more crowd. Yes.
And I guess there is value in playing as a unit. There is value in
yes,
because
yes,
the game changes. I mean, it becomes more
yeah,
modern. So there is value in that.
Yeah,
But you can't, as a coach, you can't forget. that the player still wants to express himself. You can't forget
Yes.
that. And as a player, maybe we also need to recognize that the coach has a certain philosophy, responsibility as well. So trying to mesh that too, which is probably the most difficult thing to do, will bring you success. I'm just a quick break, commercial break. We are promoting Fives Football Soccer School, and specifically Angelo Julius that me and Danleigh played with and he coached us. So he's running Fives Football School at Vanguard, and very soon he's going to open at Lansdowne. He comes with 10 years, more than a decade experience in the game, as well as having a CAF C and a Dutch C license. At Fives Football School, we specialize in football development for age groups from 6 years and older. We offer group training, conditioning, private coaching, and personal training provided by skilled coaches with a passion for the game. To find out more, contact Angelo on 074 292 8215. I'll say give his email address at the end of the show. But yeah, just a very good friend of ours and doing some good things in football as well. Danleigh, tell us how, because I put this on my WhatsApp status, tell us how the story of Thierry Henry buying you a Mini Cooper. I hope I didn't embarrass you, but that's one of my favorite stories to tell.
Okay, so I was playing obviously for New York Red Bulls at the time, and I think it was my second or third year. Now, obviously, when you being a foreigner, it's not as easy to acquire things as an American, right? And and coming through the college system, like studying and then getting drafted and all of those things, you at the bottom of the payroll, you know, compared to Thierry Henry and Juan Pablos and the guys that have been in the league for many years. So I was finally at the stage where I could now afford to buy me a car, and I was talking to somebody in the actually to the masseuse. I was saying, should I lease the car or buy a car? You know, lease the car or buy a car? And now she's telling me, why don't you just buy a car? And I'm like, really, lady? If I could, I would, man. You know, man, got the budget here you need to work with. So, but now obviously everybody's sitting around. I think Thierry was on the table, massage table or something, or getting treatment by one of the athletic trainers. And there were a couple of guys also sitting there, and everybody's like chiming in, and he was just sitting there. So now I move on. I'm talking to one of my team. I think it was Ibrahim Salou, one of my teammates, and we talking about this leasing and buying story. So Thierry knocks me on my shoulder. He said, Shosho. He called me Shosho for short because of Shosha Loza. During the World Cup, they sang it a lot, you know. So he called me Shosho. He said, come with me, man. Go home with me quickly. I'm like, no, man, I can't go home with you. Nah, I must go get my car. I'm going to try to get the car. Nah, I told him I can't. Dikvissen. Tell Thierry Henry I can't go home with him. I said, look here, I have things to do. Okay, so he leaves me, and he's about to leave. So Ibrahim Salou tells me, Danny, just go with him. Leave your business now and go with him. Okay. I say, okay, Titi, I'll go with you. Don't know why I'm going with him. So now we're driving we trained in New Jersey, but he lived in New York City. He lived in a flat in Soho. It's like the fashion district in New York City, where I think they have the fashion week there, somewhere there. So his apartment is one of those penthouse flats so we're driving from New Jersey to New York, and it's about a 15 to 20-minute trip. He tells me, Danleigh, I like the way you work, you know, you put in a lot of effort at practice. I see, like, if you lose a game at practice, you upset and you don't talk to anybody, but if you win, then your mood is completely different. All these things, and I'm like, okay, yeah, what? So I'm still thinking about my car that I need to go get.
I'll go
so,
with you, my bro.
So I'm driving. We come to his house. We go up to his flat and all of those things. He offers. We have something to eat, and then he gets dressed. He says he has an interview at the interview for BBC at Madison Square Garden. So I said, okay, why do you need me with now for interview for BBC? Nobody in England wants to know about Danleigh Borman. You know what I mean? So his agent comes to pick us up with a limo, and we're driving now to Madison Square Garden. They're still giving me this whole talk of, you must keep working hard, and I like your attitude and all of these things.
You're like, hey, bro, I want to get the call, man.
We pull up at the limo stops outside BMW in New York City. I'm like, okay, I wanted to buy me a car. No? This is now going through my mind. I'm not saying this to him. I'm like, this brother is not going to buy me a car right now. I can't believe that. He won't buy me a BMW. Or maybe he's coming to do business here at BMW. We walk in, we go right to the back. Mini Cooper is at the back, and Mini Cooper's Maybach PM. He tells me, Danleigh, I heard you talking about wanting to buy your car. Yes, Mini Cooper, choose any car that you want, I'll pay for it.
Sure. Crazy.
So me being, so he said anyone, there was turbos and the works on some of the, I just took the basic black and white one. A white, with mirrors, right, and a white roof. And then I said, I want that one. It's a manual, didn't want automatic. He said, okay, cool. He paid for it. We left. They told me next day to come and pick it up. And I drove out of the lot the following day with the car. And then he went to his interview at Madison Square Garden. That's what happened, John.
And that's why I'm an Arsenal supporter.
Yeah.
And
one thing, one thing he told me, Danleigh, don't be shy. If people ask you, don't be scared to say if I want to tell them that he bought the car for me, because if people are gonna hear that he bought me a car, other players are gonna look at him and say, hey, where's my car? Can't you buy me something? The younger guys. And he said, no, I'll tell them straight, no. I will do what I want to do. So I'm grateful for the car. It changed my life, eh?
Of course.
Because he also said, like, you can't be a man if you must, like, beg for a lift from your friends going to practice every day. You can't do what you want to do. So you want to, he's like, yeah, you can be a man now, do your thing.
And that's odd. Crazy story. Yeah. Listen, I want to just Danleigh is basically doing amazing things at Silverstream. He's teaching there now. Uncle Dot, you're also principal.
Not
Silverstream, Portswood.
Portswood.
Oh, sorry.
Portswood.
Sorry, I thought it's
in the lower park.
Uncle Dot, you ex-principal. I just got my teaching degree or certificate now. So I was talking to this girl, Katie Van Vogel, SA under 17, SA under 20 player, and she said, like, it's almost like she doesn't have a choice. She must go study. And when I was thinking of Uncle Dot in their era, they had no choice. It's almost like they could play pro, but being a pro football wasn't a job. So they needed to get the career. For us, it was a bit different, Danleigh. This was a job. So we weren't, I know you went to college, I also went to college, but not a lot of people or not a lot of footballers go to college because football is a job. Uncle Dot, what advice can you give to current footballers about education?
Man, Carlo Davids?
Yes.
I don't know if you know Carlo Davids. Carlo Davids, also like in Danleigh's case, he got the opportunity to go to America. So Danleigh arranged I think Danny or your coach arranged for Carlo to go to America to play in America. Yeah? And then Carlo David, he was at our school, and I was his principal.
Wow.
And I saw this young boy with talent.
Wow.
And then he asked me if he can also go over. So I said I will one day try and see if I can get Danny to get you in there at, wherever Danny trained and where he studied. So, and guess what? Rhode Island, yeah. And so what happened? Carlo, a few years back now, about 3 or 4 years back, or 2 years, when Carlo, if his father phoned me, Uncle Dot, I must tell you, we are so grateful for Danny and you for sending Carlo to America for trials. And but I suppose the coach was upset with him now. But in any case, so the question he asked, what do you think Carlo must do? Because Carlo's grades are so good that the professors are so impressed with him and they want him to study further and do his masters and whatever. So Carlo then phoned me, the father phoned me. I said, if I can tell you what to do, I suggest that you take the education before the soccer. Wow. Because soccer is just a lifespan of 34, 33, 35, and then you have nothing. And Carlo is the professor's right-hand man there at the university at the moment now.
I'm hearing Uncle Dot, that's not even 35 anymore.
He bought him a double-story house. He sent it to us.
Sure.
Yeah, it's a massive house he bought. So
Carlo,
the parents
we're talking about your business. So I think yes, Danny, go.
What I would say in how to prepare for life after football, I think my dad is right in saying yes, you need to educate yourself. But I'm not going to tell somebody don't try to be a football player because it's an awesome experience, you know. But what my advice would be to somebody that is a footballer right now or wanting to be a pro footballer is think of yourself as a businessman. A lot of the time, a business that must still continue after you still playing, right? Because once you stop playing, like if I'll share some personal things here. I thought my career was gonna still carry on for another 5 years, 7 years, but it ended at 30. 30, it ended. Okay, what my body wasn't holding up and all of those things. It ended. What do I do now?
Yes.
If I did not have a education, I would have had to start. I had to start from scratch, basically, John. So, I would tell my advice, and I'm not talking about just going to college or university. It just in general they must educate themselves. Learn. There's so much videos and knowledge out there. Start a business, try things, use the money that they're making now so that it can last them once they're done playing football. Because you always hear
100%.
guys.
No, I'm saying that's 100%. You need to have something to fall on to, man. You understand what I'm saying? Invest your money. If you're Messi or Ronaldo, then you can carry on playing. Yeah, they don't need money anymore. So I would say, get yourself educated, or the money that you get invested, maybe in policies or something, or use that money and have a business then after that. Brilliant. And I think you were also a very good player, and you were also in that situation, and you had to go and teach. You went for teaching, isn't it?
Danleigh. So I had to, and I hear you almost start from at the bottom. If I didn't have my parents encourage me to go study, I would be starting from the bottom again. And I mean, I applaud people that's doing it for their families, and I applaud like ex-footballers that doing it for your family. But I mean, there is ways to prepare, and I don't think our current football culture promotes education enough. So they don't tell the boy, hey, this is important, this is important. They just, how can, like we said, how, like it's a business, how can we get the best out of you, but not how can we give you our best. And I mean, we're seeing a lot of, it's a struggle. Imagine you just finish your career and you're dealing with the loss of a career, and now you still have to deal with the loss of an income, and you don't have the skills or the tools needed to progress. It's very, very, very hard.
It's a daunting, and the way football is, the makeup of football in South Africa is, today you can be the top goal scorer, the next year you won't have a team. Do you know what I mean? It's
Absolutely.
crazy. It's crazy.
Absolutely.
You need to go for trials. You know, to hell with what you've done in your career for 10, 8 years, whatever. You must come for a trial here by Amazulu. No? To hell with playing wherever you play. You know what I mean?
You could have played with David Beckham.
It's, which is fair, but that's just how the football is here in South Africa. But you need to be prepared, man. Be prepared for the worst, you know.
And see it.
Johnny, we were lucky. We were lucky because we could study in the morning. I went to your training college.
Yes.
In the morning till afternoon, and then we train in the evening.
Yes.
You understand? And now the semi-pros even train in the morning. You understand? So they don't have the time to. So they must look at that system. Yeah.
I thought about that exact point, and I mean, I think we still, I mean, there's online, there's UNISA, there's still methods.
Yes.
There's still methods.
John, but it's not just the university, man. There's other, you know, like when we talk about education, like you, many people that can't read and write, you know, they can't pass a year at the university, but they've started businesses. They are successful. So when I say education, I'm talking just go learn something, improve your mind, your body, or whatever, you know, learn stuff.
I read an article of Nathan Paulson where he stated that the learners, the players, do not know what they're going in for. So he's giving them guidance, how to invest your money, what to do. So that's the good thing, I must say.
And I mean, somebody who's Aiden Thomas watching my sir, it must be you, Danleigh.
My learner, yeah. Hello, Aiden.
Hello, Aiden. And
I hope you did your homework.
Yeah. Say laugh, Aiden. Look here.
Say watch TV, say watch YouTube. Continue to speak.
I think what I want to echo your sentiments, Danleigh, and what you said earlier on is see the landscape, the football landscape that you're in. Are people promoting life after football? Are they like, are clubs doing that? But most important, like you said, take yourself seriously, man. Whether you see yourself as a business, whether you're not going to go to school or education is big, like you're saying, it's not just books. But it's about improving your mindset. It's about learning, you know, it's about improving every day, finding new creative ways, innovative ways of solving problems. And
absolutely, yeah. No, definitely, John. I'd like footballers, they have to think of life after football. Especially here in South Africa. There are only a handful that can say, Benny McCarthy, that can say, no, I can stop doing whatever I'm doing and live off the money that I've made. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's if he managed his money well. You know what I
Absolutely.
mean? So, and you've
Absolutely.
heard of people in the English Premiership that are bankrupt. You know, so I think that is a
I hear
advice
it's
I can
happening
give.
everywhere. I hear it's happening
Yeah.
everywhere.
No, you're
Yo, it
right.
was it
You're right.
was it was such an amazing interview. I really want to thank Uncle Dot and Danleigh. Do you maybe
Pleasure, man.
just want to end off and give some words of wisdom or some nuggets there, Uncle Dot, and then Danleigh?
You want to know why they call me Dot?
That's it.
You want to
I
hear
think
why
that
they
is
call me Dot?
wisdom. That is wisdom.
What's the wisdom? I didn't
I know. But I'll tell you this some other time. I think today's players, they all they think they're Messi or they're Ronaldo or somebody. They need to take heed. Danny gave and you spoke about it about the education. It's not meaning to study also, but I would agree with you people that the learners must look. I mean, the soccer players,
Players.
the players, yeah, the soccer players must look at where they are now. When you're 30 something, then there's nothing for you after that. I understand maybe 35, 36 you can still play, but what are they going to do after that? So they must think really they ca- what they're going to do with their career after soccer. That I agree with what you've said.
Danleigh?
Um, I would just say take you like you said earlier on, John. Take yourself serious if you want to. Are you striving to be a professional? It starts now. It's doing things differently to how your peers are doing it. It's sacrificing your time to train and doing the extra bits that nobody sees. That is what's going to get you through. And if you do, or if you're fortunate enough to play and become a professional player, have that same mindset that it's the work that you put in. It will pay off one day. You will reap the benefits. And look after your body because your body is that is your business. That is what's uh, going to pay, going to put food on your table in football, right? It's your body. Eat healthy, rest, leave the nightclubs, leave the girls. They will come one day when you when you are retired. So take care of yourself, work hard, um, and really look after your mental and your emotional and your physical health.
Why?
Hmm.
Maybe answer this question from Roscoe Swanson. My last thing that I will say is just stay happy and hungry. But how's it, Dan? Experiencing both professional football in USA and RSA, are there any similarities you see how educated footballers are, or what can you learn apply to local football?
Um, I would say in America, it's it's just a different type of player, man. Um, more direct, straightforward, and they put a lot of emphasis on the physicality of the game. You know, you need to be like proper machines, man. You know, like Ivan Drago. You know,
Yeah,
like they eat correctly. They do everything that an athlete needs to do. I think that is a a huge difference between what happens here in South Africa. I'm not saying there are people or players in South Africa that don't do and don't look after themselves like that. Um, and then on the side of SA, I would say like skill wise, we are, in my opinion, like numbers wise, we
Street
are
side.
way more skillful. We have a better touch, you know, than my Americans over there. So,
American
but
friends.
somewhere it gets lost in the system, you know. But
And
yeah, so
education wise,
you know, education,
like coming
like
through the ranks as a footballer, is education taken more seriously in the USA for sports people?
yes, like obviously they have the collegiate system where you you study for 4 years, you play also at you play football, but you need to pass in order to play, and then you get drafted. So a lot of the guys in the MLS have have degrees and gone through the collegiate system, which
Yeah,
helps them a lot, right? They play with a bit more freedom, I would say, you know, more security, because they know once this ends. Because I've played with a guy that Seth Stamler, never forget it. He just signed like he was a junior, then he signed a big contract. I think that's what he was waiting for. That he
mm.
played for 1 year, saved all that money, and then he left to go do his masters. He still had like another 10 years to play. He said, to hell with this game, I'm going to go finish my masters. And
Sure.
that's the difference. Mm.
That's the
Yeah, if we're
difference.
playing, we can't leave. We need to play. We need to play. We need to play. And
Yeah,
that's why they abuse us so on the at the clubs.
and I mean, just maybe to end it off to say to like echo your sentiments. You don't want to take the dream away. It's an awesome experience. I wouldn't trade it for the world. It's amazing to play this game,
Yeah.
but it is possible to build another aspect of yourself. Um, yeah, Pink Butterfly. Pink Butterfly is a regular on the show. She says,
Okay.
in my opinion, it will be an advantage for the players to remember that soccer is not just a sport, but a
But
business too.
yes, absolutely. Yeah.
And that's a great point because I mean, it's not just a business. It's not just a business for the owners and the coaches. It's a business for you as well. So trying to
Yeah.
marry the love of the game and that business aspect is important.
Yes.
But yeah,
Agree.
yo, thank you so much.
John, awesome, man. Just
Yes,
Okay,
lovely
thank
Johnny.
you.
talking to you.
Uncle Dot,
Mm.
thank you. Your master, two of you are masters. I really enjoyed it.
Now I will look out for you, John.
Please, please, please look out for me,
Yeah.
Uncle Dot.
You are talking your business. You want to talk about
Now
your
your
business on
business.
the game.
Yeah.
Don't be like that, Jerry, man. Yo, cut him off.
Uncle
Cut him
Dot, we
off.
talk soon.
Okay, John.
Okay, sharp.
Do I just leave?